Welcome to Recap Our
The power
Studio.
fight between warlords Hatch and Lang culminates in triumph for Liang, who annually celebrates a Day of Liberty. To commemorate this, all of Hatch's followers are publicly killed, while others who are less fortunate are imprisoned in military prisons. The conditions in the jails are more akin to hard work. The guys labor in the quarry, and everyone wears an iron mask over his mouth that permits only liquid food. They are not allowed to speak, eat, or breathe through their lips. There is a massive meat grinder in the quarry's middle, with shackles tied to the inmates' legs. When the grinder breaks down, the warden instructs Kai to repair it. While all the guards are occupied, one of the convicts attempts to incite a disturbance, but another starts up the crusher, and the chain drags the rebel in. The newcomer glances about and signals to the sniper that he, too, will start a commotion. The warden restarts the meat grinder, this time setting it to pull out all the captives. Kai attempts to disengage the software in order to spare himself and his teammates' lives, but the chain around his leg drags him into the millstone. Grabbing a machine pistol, the man attempts to fire the chain off, and when he fails, Kai frees himself from the shackles in his leg. Kai awakens at Hatch's home to find himself with a prosthetic limb. The warlord takes off Kai's disguise and informs him that he has been battling Lang's jails for years and now wants the ex-convict's assistance. You must infiltrate the ship and gather information, after which Hatch promises to take the lad to New Holland and save Kai's father, whom Lang intends to execute on the day of his release. Chi enters the computer and immediately uses his earpiece to tell him precisely what he wants, after which he orders the person to send in the information without waiting for him to return. When Kai begins transmitting, something begins to happen to the spacecraft, and he dumps the capsules with the passengers and flies to an unknown planet. The man wakes up and hurries outdoors, but he needs to go back in for his helmet. The atmosphere is discovered to be poisonous. Kai attempts to get information from the onboard computer, but the software lacks authorization and merely informs him that the oxygen level is fast decreasing. The survivors are contacted by the commander of the main ship. He summons everyone to the accident scene. The pilot discovers all of Andrew's remains and a capsule from which a little girl is escaping as Kai moves away from the shuttle and attempts to contact Hatch. The man hands Terran his mask and brings the girl to the shuttle, completely oblivious to the dead man being dragged into the rocks by something. When she comes to, the girl deduces that the man was on the ship illegally. Terran sees that the fallen metal is oxidizing fast, which implies that the poisonous environment will soon damage human flesh as the young men seek for the debris. Kai detects a spacecraft and a bright rock with electric shocks going across it via his scope. Terran suspects Kai is a mercenary and offers him a fair trial, telling the child that he is incorrect about the warlord, but the youngster refuses to go with the army to Earth to avoid returning to jail. Kai departs after handing the girl her weapon. Kai attempts to flee, but the reef's computer reminds him that he has no control. The pilot then attempts to get official information about Hatch, but is only able to see a tape of the elderly man's questioning in which he confirms his crimes against Lang and expresses a wish for a more harsh jail. Kai finds Terran and tells her that he will attempt to fly away, but they must hurry. The escape pods depart the planet in a matter of minutes. Kai removes his clothing so that the crew members would not suspect him of being a sabotage, but he is ineffective. The parents do not arrive in time, and the pods soar into the sky. While Tyron takes care of them, Kai is captured by an unknown entity, who pulls him under the rocks. The girl boards the shuttle and takes off her helmet, prepared to sleep owing to a shortage of air. However, the computer tells Terran something that causes her to struggle. She proceeds to the rock that Kai just saw, and next to it is the person himself, coated in slime. Terran realizes that he is no longer subject to air toxicity after hauling him to the shuttle. Kai has no recollection of anything, although he confesses to feeling considerably better. The girl acknowledges that no more escape pods are available, but she has located someone who can lift the shuttle. The two arrive to the shining stone, which turns out to be a thin shell wrapped around the man's body. He does not recover consciousness, and Kai uses a gadget to scan his retinas so they can take off. The motor starts, and the person is going to leave without Oleander, but Town reminds her mate that they used to be friends.
She worked for her father as a youngster, and he would never leave a buddy to die. Oleander returns to his wits and begins babbling about a hatch and a heart that must be destroyed. Kai attempts but fails to stop the commander, and he shoots Tyron in the helmet, striking the pilot himself. Kai loses consciousness and awakens in the midst of the desert, naked and injured. Terran's skeleton is discovered at the location. Reef informs the child that he has been gone for 34 days and that the shuttle engine has burned out, which means the youngster may not be able to return in time to rescue his father on the day of release. Kai attempts to repair the engine while picking up trash across the desert. He wakes up one night to odd sounds, and bizarre things begin to happen to him. Instead of providing information, the computer instructs the pilot to depart the spacecraft. The guy dashes to the cave, where he notices a massive jaw in the darkness. Kai attempts to flee, but his body twists and turns into a monster. Everything is repeated. Kai awakens in his usual form, but this time he knows what occurred, and seizing the axe, the pilot begs Reef to assist him in exterminating the beast within. Kai is concerned that he would not have enough time to launch the shuttle before release day, but the computer informs him that he is too late. Release day was celebrated 2 days ago while he was unconscious. 3 years have gone. Kai has to deal with the monster within all the time, and the boy's sole source of fun is nighttime flights of fireflies. When Kai returns after one of these, he finds that the fence has been destroyed and that traces have been left about the shuttle. The youngster learns through Reef that whomever entered into his house took Terrence's photo. Kai's condition is examined by the computer, and it is discovered to be comparable to that of Oleander's. The main difference is that the commander is permanently transformed into a monster, while Kai's transformation occurs on occasion. If they possessed samples of all Oleander, they could attempt to overcome the abnormality, according to Reeve. To do this, the computer advises that Kai die in order to leave this body and be reborn in a new one, like he does every time he mutates. Kai believes that this is his last opportunity, so the person lifts himself outdoors at night, enticing the monster, and the monster appears. Kai appears out of the darkness and destroys it. Reef examines the tissues and finds that they are identical to Oleander's, who is the one who continues to assault Kai. Kai cites biology in a chat with a computer, and Reef begs permission to speak with him about Terran. After receiving approval, the intelligence allows Kai to listen to a tape of the night the commander shot the girl in the helmet, and the person discovers the tyrant is still alive. Furthermore, if Kai discovers the heart that Oleander cried of, his anguish will be over. Carrie Works is a virtual companion with whom you may travel in quest of the heart. The lads will go where Reef believes Tyrant has gone. The adventurers traverse the whole desert in search of tunnels. Reef assists his body in scanning them, but mistakenly activating a loud noise wakes up the computer, revealing a scary monster that pounces on Kai. The pilot discovers a wall with Oleander's and Kai's own heads protruding through it. It is the heart that Reef was referring to when he said that the person gets rid of the Oleander and travels to the location where Reef last healed Tyron. Kai is relieved to discover that the girl is alive and well after discovering signs of the ship's launch. Kai retrieves his old prosthetic limb from the tunnel and discovers an explosive inside. At that point, charred capsules begin to fall from the sky, as Kai attempts to find out what is going on. Reef provides him details on the jail that Lang's army is allegedly building. Kai understands that what he really wanted was to take control. A shuttle hovered above Kai for a few minutes, and the elderly man informs the mercenary that he just received his notes and is amazed because they are many years lengthy. Since the pilot traveled to the ship for information, 20 minutes had elapsed. Hatch knocks Kai unconscious, and when he comes to, Terran is standing in front of him. The old dictator wants the mercenaries' data from the spacecraft, threatening to burn the girl, but Kai sees that the knowledge is required for them to take over the jail. Despite the fact that Kai informs him where he put the data, Hatchet's guard nevertheless removes Terran's mask. The elderly man discovers the parcel and decides to eliminate the witnesses by detonating the bomb that Kai had packed for him. Kai mutates and becomes a monster. He destroys his computer and assaults Terran, but she manages to yell at her buddy, and he returns to his regular condition. Hatch is discovered to be alive and intends to get vengeance on Kai for not granting him control of the planet, which turns out to be a prison due to the unusual flow of time. This time, Kai summons the monster without losing his sanity and defeats the elderly man. After rescuing Reef, Kai and Terran go to Earth to free the planet from the world's second tyrant Lang, while Hatch stays as a mercenary.